Let us explore how our wisdom is being blocked and how its solution could be the mindfulness truth. To get at this together as a team, we're going to turn to the vast expanse of the diamond-like mind, which is considered to be the opus magnus, or great document, of a Buddhist reformer 14 centuries ago, known as Prahe Vajra. It's been translated from the Tibetan by Chokyo Namkai Norbu, translated from the Italian by Adriano Clemente, adapted and amplified by yours truly. So what I'd like to do is together relaxingly recite this fifth passage and then explain it in a way that will elucidate the topic of this morning's opening lesson. Together. Great wisdom could seem difficult to find. It is realized through method and wisdom. Although it could be said to depend on something else, real bliss originates from oneself. So there's two primary ideas taught in this passage. Let's start with the first one. Wisdom is typically associated with meditation, which can help us plug into the wisdom of letting go. But even that phrase, wisdom of letting go, invites the next question. Let go of what? And the answer is, let go of that which we noticed during our previous inhalation. So I'm going to scooch over, I'm going to attempt to scooch over here, and I'm going to quick like a bunny, in the words of my late math tutor. I'm going to paste some information which might make this easier to understand. So there's two ways of practicing the spiritual path: in cooperation with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, or in competition against it. In competition against it, our two primary tools are concentration and contemplation, focus and analysis. And people will typically focus on nothingness, or they'll focus on one arbitrary thing. The problem with this approach is that first it fatigues our prefrontal cortex, and then consequently it triggers our amygdala, which functions as the seat of both anxiety and aggression, which are the opposite of what most of us hope to receive from mindfulness meditation. So now that we've seen the problem with competing against our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, let's see what happens when we cooperate with them. Every time we inhale, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, we have evolved to notice in a very special way, to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. What do we do with that which we notice? We meditate. You see, every time we exhale, thanks to the parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord, we have evolved, or I should say we are wired, for both physical relaxation and mental release. What is it that we release? That which we noticed during our previous inhalation. Let's return now to the opening passage, or the fifth passage. The wisdom of letting go does not manifest despite the things that we notice. And what are some of the things that we can notice? We have evolved to notice perceptions, sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. We have evolved to notice the full spectrum of emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. We have evolved to notice all manner of things, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. These things are not distraction. The word distraction only is a factor if we're playing the game of concentration. But mindfulness isn't concentration. Concentration is very, very rigid and very controlling and says I'm going to focus on one thing and everything else can just piss up a rope. Mindfulness says I'm going to notice whatever crosses my sphere of perception. I'm going to notice it vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. There is no need to label that which I notice. But if we find it helpful, we can use the universal label, this. Whether this is pleasurable, painful, interesting, or boring, glorious, or grotesque. And so what the author is reminding us here is that wisdom comes from the interplay of method and wisdom, of noticing and relaxing. We evolved to process that which we perceived by relaxing. And so with that which we received is literally grist for the mill. Now, does that mean there's something wrong with concentration, something wrong with analysis? No. They are lovely tools and the question is, well, how do we know when and how to use them in a sustainable way that won't make us a slave to our amygdala? And the answer is, the more time we spend in mindfulness and meditation, perhaps once every 12 hours, the more prone we will be for our choices and utterances and deeds to flow, not from contrivance, not from slavery to our impulses, not from scatteredness, but from a type of spontaneity that is centered. From centered spontaneity, we are able to automatically use these tools in the most sustainable way. So let's talk about firearms. Is it appropriate to give a loaded weapon to a toddler? No. But if someone is well trained in the use of a firearm and they're in the woods, could the use of a firearm, an appropriate firearm, protect them and their family against a rampaging bear? Probably. The bear is neither good nor bad, it simply is. The question is, will we use the right tools at the right time in the right manner to survive an encounter with a bear? And of course, the inference should be that not all bear encounters require violence, but it's better to have it's better to have a tool and not need it than need a tool and not have it. Now, allow me to backtrack. I don't have firearms. I don't live in the woods. I'm a city boy. We're talking theoretically, and I'm just trying to make a point. And the point is, these tools, the tools of our medial prefrontal cortex and our dorsal lateral cortex, can be life-saving, but they can also be dangerous. They're like a very sharp scalpel. They can be used by Albert Schweitzer to save a life. They can be used by Jack the Ripper to take a life. Same tool, different people handling it. The most efficient way to handle all the different nuanced details of the human brain is to cultivate that centered spontaneity that comes from the regular practice of mindfulness and meditation. So from this, we're going to jump forward to the next stepping stone, and it's an idea that was repeated in the previous passage, but it bears repeating. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, and when it comes to humanity, either the secular or the religious, people are prone towards patriarchy, towards being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. And one of the things I just recited was the phrase elitism. And the class of the priesthood that says, we are studied, you are not. You can only understand something if you get information from us. And you only get information from us if you pay us and bow down and scrape and obey us and become our slaves to one respect or another. And what we're being taught here by the author is, no, that's malarkey. The ability to notice is not given to us by someone else. It's part of our central nervous system. The ability to practice the wisdom of letting go is not given to us by someone else. It's part of our central nervous system. To use a colloquialism, it is part of our factory installed equipment, just like a truck, just like brakes on a truck. So we don't need to bow and scrape before a teacher. We don't need to bow and make offerings and worship and pray to a real or imagined celestial entity. We simply need to have a healthy relationship with our own central nervous system. And the role of the outer teacher is to help people develop a good relationship with the inner teacher, the metaphoric inner teacher, which is simply their own sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And a good teacher can help you to master this, and it can give you the information you need in one sitting. You don't need a week, a quarter, a month, a year, or a decade. You can do it in one sitting, right now, as a matter of fact. And armed with these very, very easy, very, very simple techniques, you can master this path in as little as a week, according to the Buddha. Now that we have an idea of what's being said here, together as a team, let us relaxingly recite it an additional 3 times. Together. Great wisdom can seem difficult to find. It is realized through method and wisdom. Through it, though it could be said to depend on something else, real bliss originates from oneself. So I'm going to highlight this just because I have difficulty with though and through. Together. Great wisdom could seem difficult to find. It is realized through method and wisdom. Though it could be said to depend on something else, real bliss originates from oneself. Great wisdom could seem difficult to find. It is realized through method and wisdom. Though it could be said to depend on something else, real bliss originates from oneself. Having completed our opening lesson, it is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests and my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your personal nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Let us turn now to the very latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. Please chant with me. Whatever comes, may all beings notice, relax and flow. Whatever stays, may all beings notice, relax and flow. Whatever goes, may all beings notice, relax and flow. Upon the tip of our left little finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the bladder region of our lower abdomen. And so, contrary to the ravings of patriarchy, there is no need for us to contrive the full lotus position. It's far more efficient to sit in the quarter lotus position, as is reflected in the earliest Buddhist statuary. And even though the first time we assume it, our hip joints might be super tight, that's okay. Just sitting like this in imperfection gives time and gravity a chance to act like an elixir for our hip joints. In reference to the opening lesson, as we inhale, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease. So let's just hang out and play with these words in harmony with our breath. And by the way, if at any point you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not be shy. Simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. I check for questions approximately once every 12 to 15 minutes. Our job is not to pick and choose our emotions. Our job is not to label our emotions or sensations. Our job is simply to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly during our inhalation, and then during our exhalation to physically relax, thus setting space to mentally release. On the tip of our left ring finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so can gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Quick reminder that a great illustration of the 7-point posture of Adocana can be seen by carefully observing the attributes of the famous Buddha statue at Kamakura, Japan. We've already explored legs crossed and hands folded. Now let's explore the idea of creating, during each inhalation, creating a vertical traction between our tush and the back of our head, wherein our scapula are opened, our shoulder blades are open, spread like vulture's wings, and our chin is subtly, subtly dropped. During our inhalation, let's silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and during our exhalation, let's silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease. Welcome to this morning's group meditation. Upon the tip of our left middle finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Let's take a moment to review the mechanics of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, thanks to the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all manner of phenomena. From the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. And no, our job is not to pick and choose. It's not even our job to label. What do we do with that which we notice? Simple. We meditate. You see, every time we exhale, thanks to the parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of the same spinal cord, we are wired for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. So how do we best cooperate with these two aspects of our autonomic nervous system? Simple. During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb is. Now, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. I look forward to answering your questions in about 5 to 10 minutes. Together, let us practice right now. upon the tips of each of our left little fingers. We could rest the great knuckles at the base of our right little fingers, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the throat region of our neck. The essence of mindfulness is that during our inhalation, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we are wired. And second thought, let's explain this a little different way. Each time we relax into our exhalation whilst silently and mentally reciting the verb is, whatever dualities, such as lack or boon, we might have noticed during our previous inhalation, made while silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this, could begin to feel as if they were melting into the simplicity of just the circumstantial. Together, let us practice right now. And the moment you have a specific question, do not hesitate to type your question. I should say a specific question about meditation or philosophy. Do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. upon the tip of our left index finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown region of our head. Each time we relax into our exhalation, whatever pride we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin transforming into equalizing wisdom. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.